Now I request Clerk Dilip Garu to introduce our honorable chief guest.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం. ఈ రోజున వివిధ అంశాలు కేంద్ర స్థాయిలో జరిగినటువంటి పార్టీ అంశాల మీద మన మీడియా మిత్రులతోటి చర్చించడం కోసం, వారితోటి ఒక ప్రెస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ తీసుకోవడం కోసం భారతీయ జనతా పార్టీ జాతీయ అధికార ప్రతినిధి అయినటువంటి సయ్యద్ జాఫర్ ఇస్లాం గారు మన విజయవాడ నగరానికి రావడం జరిగింది. అదేవిధంగా ఈరోజు వారు వన్ నేషన్ వన్ ఎలక్షన్కి సంబంధించిన యూత్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో కూడా వారు మాట్లాడటం జరిగింది. ఈరోజు వారి యొక్క ప్రెస్ మీట్ని మన విజయవాడ హెడ్ క్వార్టర్స్ నుంచి కిలారు దిలీప్ గారు, అదేవిధంగా నేను వారితో సహకరిస్తూ ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని నిర్వహించుకునే ప్రయత్నం చేస్తున్నాం. వారి గురించి బ్రీఫ్గా, వారి గతంలో రాజ్యసభ సభ్యులుగా చేయడం జరిగింది ఉత్తరప్రదేశ్ నుంచి. అదేవిధంగా వీరు స్వతహాగా జార్ఖండ్కి సంబంధించినటువంటి వ్యక్తి. వారు ఢిల్లీలో నివాసం ఉంటారు. జాతీయ అధికార ప్రతినిధిగా గత కొన్ని సంవత్సరాలుగా భారతీయ జనతా పార్టీకి సేవలు అందిస్తా ఉన్నటువంటి వ్యక్తి. వారిని ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో తీసుకోవాల్సిందిగా ఆహ్వానిస్తూ జాఫర్ ఇస్లాం గారికి మైక్ హ్యాండ్ ఓవర్ చేస్తాం.
Thank you very much. Is that okay now? First of all, welcome to this press conference, and I am glad that I had come for some other work, but I am okay. Okay. Thank you very much, and welcome to this press conference. In fact, I was here in Vijayawada and for some other program, and I took this opportunity to speak to you about some historic decision which has been taken by our government very recently. As you recollect that when we took over the government in 2014, the economy was in terrible shape. All the macro parameters of the economy was in bad shape. The world was acknowledging India as one of the weak economy, among the five large fragile economy, and that shows that where we were in 2014 and where we are today. But while we have crossed various bridges in last 11 years, and the economy is in good shape, but thanks to these various structural reforms have been undertaken by the Honorable Prime Minister and various recent policy initiative which was taken by the Honorable Prime Minister in the last 11 years. As a result, the economy has become very sound, the macro stability is there, and all the parameters looking very good compared to what we had in 2014. And our strength is such that in global ranking, our economy, among the large economies, our ranking was 11th in 2014, and now we are at 4th and knocking the door to become third largest economy very soon. But during this entire 11 years, we have taken various initiatives and various structural reforms undertaken. One of them was GST, which was a historic reform which was taken in 2017, and now after 8 years, another big initiative has been taken by the Honorable Prime Minister by coming up with various policy measures to in GST, which is also called GST reforms, GST2 reforms. So various reform measures have been taken within GST, which was introduced in 2017. Earlier in 2017, all the political parties were saying that GST is simply not possible to introduce it in the country, but the initiative which was taken by Prime Minister with a very clear intention that we have to bring consensus and we have to introduce this GST because it will ensure that there is a growth trajectory and the growth momentum, and the revenue, the indirect revenue is collected the way it needs to be collected, and one nation needs to have one tax regime. We have been able to successfully introduce GST and implement it in 2017, but there were a lot of issues which came up in between 2017 and 2000 till recently, and under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, we had to discuss, and as a result, the GST Council had come up with various reform measures, and that was historic. Because one stroke of pen, the Honorable Prime Minister has achieved many objectives that he clearly targeted, ensured that these reforms or GST2 reforms primarily should be benefiting the common citizen of the country. So the decision is primarily to ease of living for the common citizen. Then of course it also gives buoyancy to the economy. As a result, what happens, how it will improve the life of common man, it is clearly indicative of the fact that all the essential items, now there were 4 slabs, 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. The council has recommended, and that is something which actually will directly benefit the common man, that there are, instead of 4 slabs, there are not 2 slabs. Many essential items, it is category either 0% or 5%, and the other relevant things which require, which is called moderate one, is 18%, and the sin tax, which is sin goods, which is at 40%. So, like milk, curd, paneer, all these essential items which we all, common man, consume, have been reduced from either 12% or 5% to 0%. There are many essential items like ghee, like rice, and pulses. They have been reduced from 18% to 5%. Most of the items from 18% has come up to 99% item from 18% has come up to 5% or 0%, and from 28%, like fridge, TV and all these things, earlier all the car which was earlier at 28% has been now brought down to 18%. That shows that the government is very, very clear that the middle class, the common man on the citizen on the street, the common man on the street they are the biggest beneficiary in the system. And as a result, what will happen, it will create a virtuous cycle of economic growth as well, because if you know and if you analyze the Indian economy, we are not an export-led economy, we are a consumption-led economy. In GDP, our GDP, 57% contribution comes from the consumption. And if we have to give boost to consumption, then obviously if GST rate is come off, it will give boost to the consumption, and consumption will lead to more demand will lead to more investment by the private entrepreneurs, and more investment will create more jobs, and it's a virtuous cycle which actually will lead to more growth. So as a result, what happened that most of the stuff which has been either kept at 5% or 18%, from 28% or 18% has been reduced to 5% or 18%, and the benefit will go directly to the common citizen. More importantly, the focus was on health. More importantly, the focus was on education. That's why anything to do with education, this pencils, rubber, all this earlier, which was 12% or 18%, have been reduced to 0. There is absolutely no tax. No GST applicable on those items which is related to children's education. Likewise, for every citizen, the government and the Honorable Prime Minister was absolutely clear that insurance, or whether it's the life insurance or the health insurance, there should not be any GST applicable. It was earlier GST applicable was there, but now it is not applicable. That is also a benefit which has been given to the citizen. As a result, we see that, and I'm sure that all of you must have heard that the American administration is talking about imposing, not only talking about, they've already introduced 50% tariff on Indian goods. 50% tariff is huge, and that's why everybody is overly concerned about the 50% tariff. But you must understand what the government has taken, because the indication was loud and clear, because we didn't want to compromise with our objective and safeguarding our interests, safeguarding the farmers' interests. We know that there is a lot of push from the American administration to let their dairy products come to India, and it will definitely impact our Annadata, our farmers. So Government of India was very clear that we do not want to compromise on that. We do not want to let American dairy enter our Indian market. As a result, American decided to impose more tariffs on us, initially 25%, then additional 25%, citing various other reasons, but the primary reason is that we are not letting American dairy product to come to India. Whatever the reason may be, but the Government of India had this inclination, had this apprehension, and that's why, if you recollect, during budget, the tax cut was given to the citizen, and subsequently RBI reduced the interest rate by over 100 basis points. And the GST, the rationalization has given additional boost to economy. All put together, if you see, it is more than 100 basis points of stimulus which has been given to the economy in the last 6 months after the budget was presented. Since then, almost 100 basis points of stimulus has been given to the economy, while the impact of tariff was could be merely 50 to 45 to 55 basis points. So this will also offset, it will bring more buoyancy to the economy, it will give boost to consumption, if it gives boost to consumption, it will definitely impact positively to investment, private investment as well, because in the GDP, if they all cylinders start firing, then obviously it will have a lot more momentum than what we have today. Even though America has imposed tariff, it will not impact our growth. In fact, last quarter, if you see, our growth is 7.8% compared to what the street was expecting was less than 7%. So definitely we are on the right track, moving in the right direction, and the economy is in a very safe zone, and it is moving ahead based on the various initiatives which is being undertaken by the Government of India. One of the, as I said, this particular incident of rationalizing GST and giving a lot of rate cuts, GST rate cuts, this is a historic by any standard, because it could be, it can bring lot of momentum, lot of economic activities. Besides, it will ensure that the common man and their purse is also being, they are benefited, they have more money in their purse, and they have more disposable income, and they will definitely have better investment. They will have better options to spend money for their needs. One of the reasons was also the middle class, which has also have been ensured that their interest is also safeguarded. Middle class, particularly, if you see that who buys vehicle less than 50 lakh rupees, their GST rate has also been reduced from 28% to 18%. This is a direct benefit to the middle class, because they are the one who buys car and vehicle, four-wheelers, and the benefit will go to them, because lot of middle class are requesting that either on refrigerator, TV, fridge and car, the GST rate should be reduced, and that's what the Honorable Prime Minister has done, that the benefit will go to the middle class element. But more importantly, the growth engine comes from MSME. And that MSME was struggling with few things. One is the blockade of capital, refund, and the compliance requirement. All these things were actually impacting their business. And one stroke of pen, the Honorable Prime Minister, through the GST Council, have been able to address all the concerns. Now refund will be, 90% of refund will be made immediately. there will be no blockade of capital, that system have been introduced, the rationalization have been made. Then also the compliance requirement has been made digital. All this will ensure that they spend less time on the compliance matter. Also, there are only two rates, 5% and 18%. So there is now a lot of visibility where what rate will be applicable. So the MSME sector will be the biggest beneficiary because the availability of fund, the working capital is available for them. There is no blockade of capital, and all the compliance requirement where there is struggling have been addressed. So this will also give a lot of boost because you know that large manufacturing come from the MSME sector, and we needed to support them. The government has always supported MSME segment, and this time also through policy initiative and rationalization of GST and the compliance requirement, their concerns have been addressed. As a result, what we see that this particular rationalization and the initiative over the rate cut in GST will lead to better outcome than what we had in 1991 when the policy reform was initiated by the then government in 1991. And so this objective of providing ease of living for common man, the boost the economy, addressing the middle class, concern of middle class, addressing the concern of MSME, but it is also encompassed with one particular thought which the Honorable Prime Minister has always spoken about, is self-reliant, Atmanirbhar, because he is very vocal about using the product which is being made in India and it should be consumed in India. We have a big market, and if everything can get consumed here, if it is not exported. And that is why the Honorable Prime Minister has spoken very candidly that we have to become self-reliant. We have to consume locally. We have to ensure that instead of importing, we have to develop expertise here and build everything indigenously so that it can be consumed here, and we have to less rely on imported stuff. You cannot overnight become self-reliant 100%, but since 2020, if you see all the Atmanirbhar packages which have been introduced by the government post-COVID, always he had a focus on bringing, to focus on self-reliance, and this concept should be inculcated in people's mind that we need to be self-reliant. We need to have focus of becoming self-reliant. As a result, even in this GST reforms, one of the objectives of the government is to, because all the other is that it should be encompassing that India should be self-reliant, and with our government is trying not only to making a statement but also trying to give policy support, policy initiative towards achieving self-reliance, and this is something which over a period of time can be achieved, like for instance in defense. We were zero exporting, only importing. Today our export has improved by 34 times. That suggests that the kind of momentum we have in export as well. If you see the entire export number, we are around 800 billion plus our total exports, where goods and services which is getting impacted by the tariff is around 55%, and the rest is services which is not being impacted by the tariff imposed by American administration. But if you see overall with this GST rationalization, and if despite American administration imposing the tariff, the global agencies like IMF, which has reduced, which had improved our GDP growth rate in the new GDP outlook for the world, and it has improved from 6.2 to 6.4. Likewise, the rating agency, which has actually has improved our ranking and by one notch, and despite the fact that they know that the impact of American tariff will negatively impact, but the kind of the initiative which has been taken by the government, either by a tax cut or interest rate cut or now by the historic GST 2 reforms, all put together will negate all the negative impact it will have because of American tariff imposed in Indian goods, on Indian goods. So, if I just have to summarize it, the focus of the government is of living. When ease of living, we say that particularly the citizen, especially women, youth, farmer, and students. And for farming community, the GST rates have been reduced substantially from 28% on many of the machines. All the machines have been actually reduced from 18% and 28% to 5%. This will give a huge relief to the farming sector, and our farmers and the data are extremely happy. Even the industry leaders and the captains have made very positive remarks after the GST rationalization and GST reform, that this will give another boost to Indian economy, and particularly it will benefit the youth of India, because a lot of jobs will be created, a lot of new institutions will come up, a lot of new initiatives will come up by the private investors, and a lot of new white collar or blue collar jobs will be created. Likewise, as I said, MSME will be the beneficiary, and the women of the country will definitely be the biggest beneficiary. They will have more disposable income, they will have more savings, and their quality of life will definitely improve. If anything, I will stop here, but if you have any question, then I can respond to that as well. I have not read that. Today I was only speaking about GST. I know that the order has come. I have not studied it, so I will refrain from speaking about Supreme Court result. But had I read it properly, then perhaps I would have responded.
Trump reiterates that we will impose more reciprocal tariffs if India will continue to purchase oil from Russia.
See, Trump is making this kind of statement, but you must understand that Trump has its own limitation. This 50% tariff itself will boomerang on Trump because it's a stunt which will backfire on him. They cannot unilaterally impose tariff and stay happily, because at the end of the day, they are passing this high cost to the consumer of the United States. Inflation will go up and they will suffer. We as a nation, our economy is very resilient. We know that we are, as I said, we are a consumption-led economy. We know what kind of potential impact, and government has taken various initiatives to ensure that it can be negated. Rather, our economy, which is on the right track, must move forward very strongly. Among the large economies, if you see, it is only India which is growing. And if you see incrementally what we are contributing is around 19-20%. 1/5 of the global incremental GDP is coming from India. That is purely because the strength we have. And the world acknowledges that we have this kind of strength, and even Trump acknowledges that we have this strength. If they cannot unilaterally impose a tariff, and we as a nation, we know exactly when to respond. We have not made any statement about reciprocal tariff being imposed on our goods. But at the right time, all the decisions will be taken by the government to ensure that our economy remains resilient and keep growing.
In regard to the GST, sir, Congress Party demands to reduce impose the GST on petrol and diesel.
Sir?
Petrol and diesel.
पेट्रोल and diesel?
पेट्रोल and डीजल के ऊपर जो GST impose करने के लिए कांग्रेस पार्टी डिमांड कर रही है.
देखिए, कांग्रेस पार्टी only demands outside the GST council. Inside the GST council, all their finance ministers, they do not demand. They make this kind of statement only outside the GST council meeting. None of the finance ministers in the meeting have, you can see the minutes of the meeting, they have ever demanded, because they know the large amount of revenues come from this source. So they do not want to compromise. They in fact look out for more resources, and that's why they have never spoken about it yet. They want to politicize the issue. They are a political party. They want to play politics. Yes, they are more than welcome. But the fact, you must know that they have never spoken about it in those meetings. Yes. Any other question, please? Thank you.